Donald Trump's anger and grievance has reached an all-time high, or I think a better way to put it is his anger and his attacks have reached a new rock bottom, because today in a speech in Georgia, Donald Trump completely lost control and an insane meltdown in which he started threatening Michelle Obama. Yes, this is the point where Donald Trump has gotten to. His attacks were disgusting, they were disgraceful, and they show that Donald Trump is completely coming apart in the final days of this campaign. It was an absolute meltdown, and we are going to get into all of it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy our channel and want to support it, you can hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into some of the beginning of this meltdown before we see Donald Trump fully lose it with his threats against Michelle Obama.
From Kamala and her campaign is that everyone who isn't voting for her is a Nazi. We're Nazis. You know, years ago, my father, I had a great father, he's a tough guy. He used to always say, never use the word Nazi, never use that word. And he'd say, never use the word Hitler, don't use that word. It's like, I didn't even know why, don't use that word. And then I understood it. And yet they use that word freely, both words. They use it, he's Hitler. And then they say, he's a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I'm the opposite of a Nazi. I don't know.
If you have to say that you are the opposite of a Nazi, what does that say about you? If you have to deny that accusation, which is very clearly pretty evident of Donald Trump and his fascistic tendencies, then where does that leave you? This is the closing message of Donald Trump's campaign at this point. Kamala Harris's is joy and moving forward with policies, and Donald Trump's is denying that he's a Nazi while going through his enemy list, which of course we are going to get to in a bit. But the top of that list right now, of course, is Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump was really upset with her in this rally, and we see that right here.
You're going to say, please say it, sir. I say, I will. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah. No.
What crime is it that Donald Trump wants to lock up Kamala Harris for? Where are we? We are at the point, again, where the crime that Kamala Harris has committed to Donald Trump and to MAGA is being his political opponent, not his political enemy. We don't need to use that charged language, being his opponent in a free and fair election in our democracy. That is the crime that Donald Trump thinks Kamala Harris has committed. And that is the mindset that he would have in the Oval Office. And that should absolutely terrify us. And that mindset, Donald Trump's cognitive decline as well, is exactly what Michelle Obama slammed him for this weekend. And so before we get into what Trump had to say about her, and it will shock you, I think we need to hear what Michelle Obama accurately said about Donald Trump.
And I'm talking to everybody out there, that too many of us are still confused and buying into the lies and distortions from people who do not have our best interest at heart. So I want to address some of these concerns head on. Because when you lay out the options, this choice isn't even close. But whether it's online or in the media or in our social circles, there are folks who say they're not sure about Kamala. They accuse her of not providing enough policy detail. Some wonder, do we really know her? Is she too aggressive? Is she not aggressive enough? There are folks sowing seeds of doubt about whether she's who she appears to be. Now, don't get me wrong. Voters have every right to ask hard questions of any candidate seeking office. But can someone tell me why we are once again holding Kamala to a higher standard than her opponent? We expect her to be intelligent and articulate, to have a clear set of policies, to never show too much anger, to prove time and time again that she belongs. But for Trump, nothing at all. No understanding of policy, no ability to put together a coherent argument, no honesty, no decency, no morals. Instead, too many people are willing to write off his childish, mean-spirited antics by saying, well, Trump's just being Trump, rather than question his horrible behavior. Some folks think he's funny. And if you remember, that's exactly how he got elected the first time. Folks gave him a pass and rolled the dice, betting that he couldn't possibly be that bad. And then there were those folks who didn't think it really mattered who the president was, if you can believe that. And still others who thought it'd be a good idea just to blow up our entire democracy. Let us not forget how badly that worked out for all of us. Let us not forget the incompetence and the corruption, the chaos that was the cornerstone of his entire 4 years in office.
He is increasingly unstable. He is unwell. He is out of control. He was unfit in 2016. He is more unfit than ever now. He is losing his mind and he is lashing out. And it's why he said this about Michelle Obama.
With your support on November 5th, you know what was nasty to me? Michelle Obama. She was, ooh. I always tried to be so nice and respectful. Oh, she opened up a little bit of a box. She opened up a little bit of something. Oh, she was nasty. Ooh. Shouldn't be that way. That was a big mistake that she made. With you.
First of all, it would have been too far to just say that she's nasty, as Donald Trump did. But the insinuation that comes along with Donald Trump saying that she made a big mistake, that she opened up a box in him, considering what Donald Trump has done to those who he considers his enemies and what he is planning to do, as he has already said, sending the military, the National Guard, locking up and attacking, deporting who he considers the enemy from within. That is a clear threat from Donald Trump. That is an attempt to intimidate, and it should not be taken lightly, especially after what he said right here.
They said, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. They screamed, I'd say, easy, easy, we won. We're going to have unity. I could have locked her up, but I didn't want to lock her up. She's the wife of the President of the United States previously, and she was Secretary of State. I said, that would be so terrible for our country. And then they try and do it to me. Isn't it terrible?
It was not your decision to not lock up Hillary Clinton. She didn't commit crimes, unlike you, Donald. That's the reason. But this will not be the case in a second Trump term. It won't matter what you've done. If you have crossed Donald Trump, it is over for you. That is his plan. That is the enemy list, and that is the focus of Donald Trump all the time. That will be his focus if he is president. That should terrify us, especially for the strange reasons he wants to go after people. Like, think of the strange reason that he's saying about Kamala Harris right here.
You know, she's not a nice person. Does anybody know that she is not a nice person? In case you had any ideas. Did you see she used the F word the other day? She thought she was talking without a camera on. She used the F word. Did you see that? Oh, it's terrible. If that ever happened to me, it would have been front page headlines. Oh, boy. No, they got her using the wrong word, camera. She should be admonished for doing that. Don't you agree? How about
Donald Trump has constantly and consistently used foul language and obscenities to describe Kamala Harris. So I think letting an F-bomb loose once in a while shouldn't necessarily be an impeachable offense. I don't know what's wrong with him. He doesn't know what he's saying. Maybe there were some problems with his teleprompter. So speaking of teleprompter, listen to what he had to say here.
And isn't it great to have a guy that doesn't need to look at a teleprompter at all, right? I don't need to.
He continues to do this bit, and it's really just showing how stupid he is, but I think it's a part of his larger insecurity about his inability to read and his cognitive decline and his constant tripping over his words. Speaking of tripping over his words, listen to what he said right here.
But we're close to World War II because we have people in the White House that World War III. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I had World War II. I had World War II. I had World War II veterans. I didn't realize the word veteran afterwards. Thank you very much.
In an attempt to fearmonger about World War III, Donald Trump says, we can't get into World War II. Clearly not a student of history, Donald Trump, because he wanted Nazi generals who were historically loyal to Hitler. Yeah, that wasn't the case, Donald. That's not the reason that you shouldn't want Nazi generals, but Donald Trump, not a particularly bright individual, clearly not a historian, clearly not someone with an accurate recounting of anything, as we can tell right here.
This is the kind of outrageous rhetoric that has resulted in 2 assassination attempts in the last 3 months, probably. I could say that that's probably right.
So it was Democrats who got the 2 Republicans to try to come after you? No, I think it was 2 disturbed individuals who had access to weapons that they shouldn't have because of Republican policies. Because again, Republicans will always put their financial gain, their political gain, helping out their donors, helping out their friends above the lives of Americans. That's what their movement is all about. That's what Donald Trump is all about. And that's what we have to call out every single day. And we're going to on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.